Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Yakima Off-grid roof cargo basket here on our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now guys, this is going to be a very nice way of giving yourself a nice little basket on top of your roof. Now the Jeep Grand Cherokee, not the biggest cargo space in the world in the back here. Of course, you got a decent little rig here in the back. However, if we want to go ahead and make those road trips way nicer for ourselves, not be crowding us all in the back here, this is going to be an excellent way of getting your heavier items up on there, those bulkier ones out of the way. Can also be very useful though if you just have a couple kiddos doing some sports, or if you yourself are doing a little outdoor trekking. And this way you can go ahead, keep those dirty items outside of your vehicle, get them up on your roof, and of course, just make yourself a nice little way of just throwing anything up you need on your roof. Now, of course, you are going to need yourself a set of crossbars here today. Today we are utilizing Yakima Jetstream, and we are doing that for a reason here. Right out of the gate, you are going to have some locking core features that we're going to break down later. Right here you can see on our Jetstream crossbars, we actually do, well, our Skyline towers, I should say, that are holding onto our Yakima Jetstream towers. This can be a nice way of going ahead and actually getting everything keyed alike to one thing. So we can key these guys to our off-grid. Right here you guys are going to see that locking core feature, and that way we can go ahead and make sure that our carrier and our roof rack stays attached to our vehicle when we leave it unattended. Talking about we can get up on there though, we do have 165 pounds weight capacity for our cargo basket. Now I know today we also do have 165 pound weight capacity on our roof rail system, so make sure A, you're checking with your vehicle's owner's manual guide to make sure you're not exceeding your own roof limits, but B, make sure you are checking with your roof rack system, and please keep in mind you actually do have a carrier weight on there, so try to keep that in mind as you're adding that up. Now keep in mind that it is also your dynamic weight, so that is actually when you are in transit, when you're moving, so you actually can get a bit heavier things up on there while we're not. This can be a nice way of just putting some things up while you're at the campsite. Now we are going to talk about him here as we jump up too, but these guys are going to have these little adapter bars up top. Might be a little hard to see, but what these guys can do, allow you to easily go ahead and start organizing your basket, or B, you actually can go ahead and throw some more accessories on top of our off-grid. So like a bike rack carrier could be a great option, kayak carriers, maybe a couple other ones out there as well. Just gives you a nice little way of actually maxing out your entire use of the off-grid. Now of course I think the off-grid looks pretty cool. We got Yakima design, always keeping it stylish, keeping it nice for ourselves. But with that too, you are getting really good contact points, even for your cam buckles, your ratchet stress, whatever you're going to use to start securing your cargo to your vehicle. Well, also it doesn't take too much time to actually get installed, which is one great little aspect of it. Let's go ahead, hop up together and see how we got it on. Now guys, to get this installed takes no time at all. That's about 40 pounds or so. So when you are getting it set up there, I like to go ahead, just set it on our bars and then kind of walk it over. Now you can kind of slide it, but just keep in mind, a lot of times your roof racks are going to have a powder coat. So is our off-grid here. So we don't want to be damaging the underside of there. Really walking it over, or of course getting a second pair of hands can help. It's totally doable by yourself. Just set it up there, gently walk it over so we can go ahead and start getting our pads set. To do so, you just simply want to lift up on your carrier and slide these guys to the appropriate position. Then you want to take your metal right here, this strip here, it is rubber coated, and we just simply slide it underneath our bar, and then we want to bring it up into position here, and then we just simply latch it down like so. To tighten this, we're going to have this little bolt here on the inside. If you need to, you can go ahead and loosen it, or if you're like us here today and you're already pretty well set, we can go ahead and tighten it up. That's going to go ahead and give us a nice secure fit here all the way across our roof rack. And then to bring this in, guys, we just want to bring this back plate, pull it in the spot, and that way it'll actually lock it in. Now at this point, you can go ahead and also pick yourself up some locking cores as well. So everything is nice and secure now here on our rack. However, if we wanted to, we can get that peace of mind, add ourselves some locking cores as we mentioned earlier, and that way we can go ahead and be nice and secure on our roof rack system. Well, now that we have this installed, we can go ahead and start taking a closer look at it. As you guys were mentioning, or as I mentioned before, we do have these little adapter bars up top, guys. So these are going to be great, of course, as we said, just to go ahead and start organizing your bins, or two, you can go ahead and start mounting some other accessories on here, which is kind of nice because you guys can see the off-grid can take up most of the room here on your vehicle. So nice that we actually have an option of still adding on a carrier or some other way of getting our things up on this roof without just limiting us just to our roof basket. As we mentioned too, you are getting a lot of good contact points throughout the entirety of the off-grid here. And you also are seeing a nice little fairing up at the front. Now that's going to be great, of course, just to cut down a little bit of your wind noise, give you a slight little bug shield, of course, for your front little items here. However, it is a little shallow, so keep in mind most of your cargo is going to be sitting quite a bit above that. Just to give us an idea of some dimensions here, we're going to go ahead and see from the front here to the very back is going to be putting us right about 39 inches for our length. Now, keep in mind, you are getting a little bit more up to the front here. If you're wondering why the website says differently, we're just going to go ahead and say you're losing a little bit on the front, but you could find yourself putting some of your smaller items kind of wedged in between that fairing. One last little thing too before I forget, guys, before moving on to our width, this fairing actually can be quickly and easily taken off. You simply pop all of these guys around it and it comes right out, which can be great if you want to go ahead and throw some of your longer items. So while we did just say we're about 39 inches for our length, we can go ahead, take that fairing out, and as you guys can see on the very back end here, we actually don't have a grid there. We actually have an open end, which can be a little scary. I definitely agree for getting your cargo up on here. That's why this bar becomes excellent here at the back of giving you a nice rest. However, going to be great if you want to put into your longer items up on here, paddle boards, surfboards. I can even see ourselves putting some lumber up on here. Anything that we need, we can go ahead and get a lot more length out of it if we so need it. So just to go ahead and give us the rest of that width though, from the inside here to the other side is going to be right at 38 inches for our inside width, while our overall depth here from the end of our carrier to the very top, sorry, I'm blocking that right there for you guys, is going to be putting us right at 5 inches for ourselves there on the overall height from the edge of that to the very top of our carrier. So nice that we're not adding too much height to here. Let's go ahead and see though exactly what we're adding from the bottom of our carrier to the very top, just from our roof rack system here, guys, just so we can know what exactly working with on our height. So overall here, it looks like our bars are going to be at our highest point, going to be putting us right at about 7 inches there extended from our roof rack system. So go ahead and add that to your roof rack that you might be adding or you have at home. That way you can go ahead and make sure that we are able to pull this in the garage, as this already is somewhat of a tall vehicle. So we want to make sure we are appropriately measuring our height. That way we don't have any happy accidents at home. And one last little cool thing with this guy, you guys can see we have plenty of space to open up our hatch here. We got about 10 inches or so between here and there. Here about almost 12. So one thing we could also do is go ahead and grab ourselves the 18-inch extension for the off-grid. Definitely going to have all that 12 inches to take up and a ton at the front as well. Now keep in mind, of course, you do have your moon roof there, your sun roof. So keep in mind as you put that cargo basket over it, you're gonna be losing a little bit of that. However, I think that's a price we're definitely gonna be able to pay to get all the things we need on the roof of our car. Well, as you guys saw, you're getting a lot of great little features here with the Yakima Off-grid. It looks really stylish, of course. That might be just my personal preference. Hopefully you guys are seeing that too. Yakima always really worried about that style. Now, one thing I will say, we do have a slightly longer vehicle here. So honestly, I think a lot of our roof space is being wasted. So one thing we can do, we can go ahead and just grab ourselves an 18-inch extension available here at etrailer.com. Of course, that's going to go ahead and widen this out for ourselves, getting us a little bit more length. I highly recommend also checking out the bigger version of the Yakima Off-grid. It's just going to give you a little bit of a longer and wider approach, and we can really start filling this out as we aren't having too much room to really shift this to one side and then add another carrier on. And with it being the off-grid as well, that's something that we're not worried about, right? We can go ahead, start utilizing those bars up top and add all the accessories we need right to the top of the off-grid. Well, guys, I think this is going to be a great little way of getting your cargo on the roof of your car, giving yourself a little bit of space and making your ride that much more enjoyable. Well, guys, I think that about does it for our look at the Yakima Off-grid here on our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.